Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up, because tonight in Atlanta, one football team is about to answer a question that's been simmering for months, and the answer might just blow the whole season wide open. Is Tua Tagovailoa really the Falcons guy, or is he simply keeping the seat warm for a golden-armed understudy who's one medical form away from stealing his job? Because here's the truth nobody in that building wants to say out loud: Kevin Stefanski has not, repeat, has not named a starting quarterback. And in the NFL, silence like that isn't nothing. Silence like that is a 5-alarm fire dressed up as a coaching strategy. Tonight, the Falcons open their preseason against the Denver Broncos, and for the first time in what feels like forever, the real starters are actually going to play, not a glorified walkthrough. Not a let's not risk it snooze fest. Actual football with actual stakes and one man standing at the center of it all with everything to prove: Tua Tagovailoa. He gets one series. One, that's it. One shot to convince an entire fan base, an entire coaching staff, and quite possibly his own front office that he is the guy who should be taking snaps in week 1. No pressure, right? Let's rewind for a second, because you need the full picture to understand just how explosive this quarterback situation really is. Michael Penix Jr., the golden boy, the former first-round investment, the quarterback many believe is the actual heir apparent to this franchise, is on the sidelines recovering from a torn ankle. He's not medically cleared. He can't practice. He can't hit the field tonight. And according to insiders close to the team, he won't suit up for any preseason action until doctors give him full team clearance, something that may not happen until deep into the season. So on paper, this should be simple. Tua starts, Tua plays well, Tua is the guy, conversation closed, everybody moves on with their lives. Except it's not that simple, not even close, because Stefanski had the perfect opportunity to shut this quarterback controversy down before it even started. All he had to do was stand at that podium and say the 4 words Falcons fans have been begging to hear: Tua is our starter. Full stop. No qualifiers. No conditions. He didn't say that. Instead, what came out of his mouth was something far more calculated, far more cautious, and honestly, far more suspicious. Tua will start this game. Nothing about the season. Nothing about week 1. Nothing locked in stone. Just this game. And if you know anything about NFL coach speak, you know that kind of hedging is never accidental. Coaches choose their words like chess pieces. When a head coach refuses to hand his guy the full, unconditional endorsement, it means one of 2 things. Either he genuinely hasn't made up his mind, or he's leaving himself an escape hatch in case things go sideways. Either way, this competition everybody assumed was over, it might still be very much alive. So what would it actually take for Michael Penix Jr. to snatch this job away from Tua before the season even begins? Buckle up, because the scenario is dramatic enough for a soap opera. If Tua comes out tonight against Denver and stinks up the joint, if he looks shaky, indecisive, rattled, the same way he did during stretches of last season, that door Stefanski so carefully left cracked open, it swings wide. And if Penix gets medically cleared even remotely close to the final weeks of the preseason, suddenly this isn't a formality anymore. The last time it went horribly wrong. The difference, Penix says, is that because he's been through this exact nightmare before, twice, he at least knows what's coming. He knows the wave of doubt is going to hit him. Down with NFL legend Cam Newton on Newton's own podcast and got real about the psychological minefield of coming back from injury. Newton, who has lived through his own share of comeback struggles, gave Penix a warning that should send chills down the spine of every Falcons fan. Newton essentially told him if you rush back before you're truly fully ready and you don't perform, people won't give you the benefit of the doubt. They will judge you harder, not softer, because you tried to force it. Newton knows this from personal experience in Carolina, where his own comeback attempts were picked apart mercilessly. And Penix has lived this nightmare once already. Rewind to his college days at Indiana 2021, which is under a completely different kind of pressure. Coaches don't think 5 years down the road. Coaches think about Sunday. Coaches think about wins this season, because their job security depends on it. And right now, healthy, available, and battle-tested, Tua represents the safer bet to win now. So you've essentially got a fascinating tug-of-war brewing behind closed doors in Atlanta, a front office potentially eyeing the long-term financial and competitive advantages where this drama actually kicks off in front of live cameras. Tua gets his one series. Analysts and insiders expect a script about as vanilla as it gets, a handoff to open things up, a quick gadget-style touch pass to rising rookie sensation Zachariah Branch, and then a chance for Tua to show off his accuracy on third down. Nothing fancy, nothing that reveals the playbook, just enough for fans to squint and try to read the tea leaves. And speaking of Zachariah Branch, that name should be burned into your memory tonight, because all eyes are on him too. He's been an absolute star throughout training camp, catching everything thrown his way, generating buzz, flooding team social media with highlight reel catches. But here's the cautionary tale Falcons fans have seen before. Training camp legends don't always translate into preseason production. Some electric camp performers show up in actual games and simply disappear. Tonight is Branch's chance to prove he's the real deal, not just a practice field mirage. Then there's the trench warfare. The unsung battles in the box scores that could quietly decide roster spots. Eyes will be locked on the defensive tackle rotation, where new combinations are being tested and depth is far from settled. The edge rusher room is another storyline to watch, especially with uncertainty swirling around a potential suspension for one of the team's key pass rushers, leaving other young players to prove they can hold down the fort. And let's not forget the battle in the trenches on offense. After a rough patch last summer with a struggling second-string offensive line, fans are desperate to see any sign of improvement from the backups fighting for depth roles. So here's where we stand as kickoff approaches tonight in Atlanta. A quarterback with something to prove. A golden-armed backup circling from the sidelines with a legitimate shot at stealing the job. A front office and coaching staff possibly pulling in two different directions, and a roster full of young players desperate to make an impression before final cuts come down. This isn't just a meaningless preseason opener. This is a pressure cooker. And tonight, the heat gets turned up. Will Tua silence the doubters and put this so-called quarterback competition to bed for good? Or will one shaky series crack that door open just a little wider for Michael Penix Jr. to walk through later this season? Nobody knows yet, and that right there is exactly why this storyline is must-watch television heading into Friday night. One thing is certain, the Falcons' quarterback drama is far from over, and tonight's game could be the first spark that lights the whole thing on fire. So here's what you need to do right now. If this breakdown got you fired up, if you're just as invested in this Falcons quarterback saga as we are, smash that like button so this video reaches more die-hard fans like you. Drop a comment below and tell us, are you Team Tua or are you ready for the Penix era to begin? We want to hear your hot takes. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because we are going to be all over this story as it develops, breaking down every snap, every headline, and every twist in this unfolding quarterback drama. Trust us, you do not want to miss what happens next. See you in the next one.